Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of the Division Z podcast. My name is Jason.
And I am K Cosmic.
This week, my friend, we've got some stuff to talk about. The last couple of weeks have felt a little dry, but we actually got some stuff to talk about it pertains to the world of Call of Duty. And those things we're going to be talking about is a Rebirth Island Zombies event coming to Warzone next week. Zombies are currently on Fortune's Keep right now in Warzone, and a brand new world record, the highest round ever achieved in Zombies, has just been broken yet again. And so we got some stuff to talk about here today. Pretty exciting, I would say.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to, again, I know Zombies in general, right? When things are dry, they're dry. But when there's things to talk about, it's always fun. Relevant stuff, at least, like world records, that's always fun to talk about.
True.
And then to see that they're bringing back Zombies to some capacity to, Warzone. We've had zombie events before. Some fun, some,
some were just okay. But for the most part, the zombie stuff on Warzone has been pretty fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But no, I'm glad to see that back. But honestly, man, I'm more excited to hear about this world record because I haven't seen too many details about it. But obviously, it's on Shinonuma, because Shinonuma, for people that don't know, is one of the easiest maps to get to high rounds on. And the only reason that is because
World at War Shinonuma specifically.
No, Vanguard. No. World at War. And memes aside, right, guys? This is because with World at War, Shinonuma only pretty much is that 24 zombies will spawn in per round, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, at a certain point, only 24 zombies around will spawn in.
Yes, and the Wonder Wolf in Shinonuma for some reason drops for some reason. So, I mean, it's just the way the game works. But yeah, so the round you were saying is here.
11,402.
Now, listen.
That's wild.
That's probably more days. If we convert them to days, that's probably more days than I've been alive. And that I'm 21 years old. So that's a scary number.
I mean, here's the thing, right? It's kind of crazy to think about, because the previous record was 10,751. And so now it's been pushed up by almost 1,000, is pretty insane, actually. And I'm going to completely butcher this guy's name, by the way. Mattia, something along those lines is his name that broke the record. I know I completely butchered your name, but I'll leave a link to the screenshot of his game down below in the description. He put it on Twitter. Go show him some love. That's a lot of commitment there to Shinonuma, a lot of hard work there. But yeah, it's kind of insane to think about that. To this day, people are still pushing the limits of zombies. To this day, people are still just going crazy, to be honest, with these world records. I mean, the world record community in zombies is always super crazy, to say the least. Always breaking some kind of new record and always pushing the game to its limits. I believe there was some other Easter egg world records broken earlier this week, like Shadows of Evil and Mauer der Toten and other maps like that. But hey man, I mean, pretty insane.
Thing is, right, I consider myself an okay zombies player. Like anyone who kind of posts zombies, I think we're all like okay at the game, right? And if we truly tried our hardest, we could get to like high rounds, like round 100. You probably could, right? Like, I mean, I think I could, and I think you could as well.
Yeah,
if we put the time and commitment in that, right?
True.
But even around 100, that takes like 10 hours on like some of the older games
on some of the maps, yeah.
Right. And I know Shinonuma obviously has its exploits, and on World at War at least. But again, the amount of time and mental strength it takes to do that, right? Because it's not like there's a bunch of variety in the strat,
Right.
At least until you get to a certain point, if you get what I mean. Like, I can imagine that it gets pretty, like, not daunting, but like repetitive.
Oh yeah, it can definitely get laborious. I mean, you're doing that for 11,000 rounds. You're just the same thing for the most part over and over again. It's crazy. It's a lot of patience too.
Really, like, again, the mental strength, I could never. I could never do it just
Yeah,
because
like me neither.
I know in my head, in my heart, it's like, Kyle, you're not going to be able to do this. It isn't happening.
I just
Maybe,
don't want to like spend the time. I'm gonna be real
yeah,
with you, dude. Like I don't.
yeah. I mean, I'm kind of for the people that can, right? Is like, again, incredible mental strength. You have a
Right.
passion and you're pursuing it, right? By
Mhm.
going for these crazy rounds. But I get bored at round 20. You know what I mean? There's no chance I'm going all the
Oh
way to
no.
like 11,000. You know? I mean, I think in a way, older zombies, and what I mean
Mhm.
by older is like anything kind of like prior BO2, right?
Oh, for sure.
Is the challenge was so much more significant there than like Black Ops 3 onwards, and you kind of knew after a certain point you're pretty screwed for getting your high rounds. So in a way, it kind of like added in the
Mhm.
motive to keep going and trying to get them higher rounds, because
Right.
they weren't like super high. Like Nuketown, for example, Black Ops 2, I consider a high round on that map round 50. Like a
Oh
pretty
yeah.
significant like high round, because
Yeah.
all you have is
Yeah.
ray gun Mark 2, right?
I
Or
mean,
ray gun.
Nuketown in itself is a pretty difficult map because of the perks that drop in random order, and you won't get
Yeah,
jugged sometimes until like 25. So yeah,
yeah,
Nuketown Black Ops 2 is pretty hard, but that's what kind of makes it interesting. I like Nuketown on Black Ops 2
yeah.
just because it has an interesting weapon variety, and I mean, hey, I think Nuketown plays pretty well as a survival map in my opinion. But the other thing too, when it comes to Shinonuma and specifically like World at War and why this round is so insane, is because you have the reset on the game. So at a certain
Yeah.
point too, the game will literally just reset you to round one because it. I know there's like some technical terms for it, like the amount of entities or like the amount of there's a
Yeah.
particular number. I forgot the actual terminology for it, but there's like a particular number of like entities or assets or something like that that get into the map, and at this particular number it like resets the game, and then yada 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 technical
Things started
jargon,
getting a bit crazy.
and then things just reset, and then so because that's what happened to this guy. It was around 11,402 reset, and so that's how he stopped. If that didn't happen, he probably would keep going and maybe get to like 12,000 probably, but
The thing is,
it's
right,
kind of
as
wild.
well, to intervene is this can go higher.
Oh,
This has
yeah.
proven that the record can go higher. So if someone is crazy enough to go, I don't know, is he attempting it again? Is he going
No
back at
idea.
it? Right? Well, I mean, if someone wanted to, they could get higher, right? Because with a strat like this, it's just luck. Is whether when the game is going to beat you out or not.
That's why a lot of
Um,
people also like they consider it a speed run,
yeah,
right?
because you have to
Because
go fast.
yeah, like you have to go
Because
fast so you kind of beat that reset kind of a thing.
man, it's so like, I say it's stupid, but obviously Treyarch never intended for zombies to get to them rounds. You know what I mean? And
Probably not, but it's wild that it can.
it's pretty impressive for how old the game is. What, like 12, 13 years World at Wars? No, 12 years? 12?
Uh, oh, 12 to
2007.
13.
For 2007 it came out, right?
2008.
2000. Oh yeah, so yeah,
So
Robert 13.
13-ish years, 14 years.
13.
We're good
Yeah,
at math, by the way, everybody.
we're good at math. We're good at math. We're mathematicians, guys.
If I
Come on. I think they should add in more Easter egg steps where it's just simple calculus. Two plus
oh
two.
oh
2 plus 2, 5.
right
Two
right right
plus two,
right.
5.
You
Right,
solve
right,
this
right.
math problem. You solve this addition equation, and then you open the door. That's how it's going to be from here on out. Actually,
I
you know what would be
mean,
kind of interesting?
well,
Education edition of Call of Duty, right? Like you have Education edition Minecraft, right? What about Education edition Call of Duty? Okay, kids, if you want to kill this zombie, you need to solve 2 plus 2.
I
And then
mean,
like
there's an audience for everything. Um, I guess that could be something. I mean, maybe that's a standalone game that we'll get at some point for zombies.
Call
We're
of
getting all
Duty
this type.
Education Edition.
I can see it. I can see this awesome trailer with gameplay, guns, pack a punch, weapons with personality, and it's just like Call of Duty, zombies, and then Education Edition, and then just underneath it is like a whoop, mobile.
Mobile. Oh.
Yeah, because companies love doing that. They love making really good trailers and adverts. Like, okay, off topic, right? Off topic. You know how every company has to have a mobile game now to,
Right.
like, you got Call of Duty, you got Battlefield, they're working on one, and it's not out yet. You got Apex Legends, that's out. Valorant, I'm pretty sure, working on. Every company has to have one, and it makes sense because it's such a major. There's so much of an audience there because so everyone has a phone, right? I
Right.
mean, I have two phones. I don't know where my other one is, but everyone has a phone, right? So it's
Yeah.
always accessible for them to play. Do you recall the game The Division
I do.
and The Division 2?
I know of them. I've never played them.
There is a mobile game coming out for them, and the
Wow.
thing is, right? The thing is, right? Again, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just crazy to think that every game needs a mobile thing because I guess it depends on what way you look at it. Is some people look at it, oh, well, you can be making a new game for the main franchise for the people on console. That's going to be a better product. Because unfortunately, what happens with all these mobile games is that they just become slot machines because they don't want these monetization. They don't want these supply drops, like really dirty battle passes and really expensive weapon skins. Might I add. There's COD skins on mobile that go for like $100, right?
Yeah, it's
And
pretty crazy.
the reason they're in the mobile version is because they just don't want them in the console version because that gets a lot more publicity. I guess you could say is a lot more of like a staple. Like if you get what I mean, they want to get their dirty stuff on mobile.
They want to put the higher marked up stuff on mobile because I think where this all stems from, to be honest with you, dude, I'm not an avid mobile gamer. I
No,
once in a blue moon and barely ever have played like mobile games, to be honest with you. I just don't
talking
really
of
use my
Candy
phone for
Crush.
that. I've never even played Candy Crush, but like
What?
I'm just not a mobile gamer.
Come on.
I'm not even a mobile gamer.
Download Candy Crush right now.
But I'm not a mobile gamer. Like the thing is, and that was gonna be my point, because of how successful Candy Crush has been, a lot of these companies want to capitalize on the fact that, oh, well, hey, they made a lot of money. We need to make our mobile product to, just milk this cash cow of mobile, right? And I think that there's a little bit of disconnect here too, because I think because, like you said, everybody has a phone. Why wouldn't everybody play a mobile game, right? But because mobile games are like kind of clunky too half the time, nobody really wants to play mobile games for a long period of
No,
time, right? And so then they
because
do become slot machines of just like, oh, spin and just get everything really quickly and really easily and whatever, right? Do you recall also the Diablo developers
yeah, I
when
don't.
they were
I'm gonna quote it. You guys have a smart. I know the
right,
exact quote. What was it? It was when they were talking about it, and it was like a
right,
new Diablo game, and it shows up for mobile, and
right,
then
and everyone was like
the guy
so
asked the
pissed.
question. The guy asked the question. So is this gonna be strictly for mobile, or is there plans to bring it to
Mm,
PC? And
mm,
then when the developers are like, for right now, it's only for mobile,
mm,
and then everyone's like, boo, like
mm,
you
right,
stink and all that, right? And
right.
then they say, don't you guys have a phone?
I mean,
Don't
here's
you
the thing.
have a phone?
I think that perfectly encapsulates what I'm trying to say. Where like a lot of these companies are kind of disconnected with what people like, and PC gaming, of course, is huge, and console gaming is of course a staple. That is, the origins of gaming. For the most part, I know you can make the arguments, oh, the Commodore and like all these other like, okay, whatever, right? But for the most part, PC and console gaming is like the core of gaming. And
Yeah,
so
no,
when you
that's
have
the
when you
main
have like
hub for
mobile
gaming.
gaming, and a lot of people aren't as super into mobile gaming if it's not Candy Crush, if it's not Clash of Clans, if it's not anything like that, because there just doesn't seem to be as much interest in that. Now, granted, Call of Duty Mobile does have a lot of interest. Okay, and
Yeah,
a lot of people will point to that and be like, "Well, Jason, everything you just said is not true because Call of Duty Mobile has a big player base." Well, a lot of people emulate Call of Duty Mobile on PC.
yeah, because
So
the thing is with it,
it just goes to show you.
the development team behind mobile made the launcher for it for
Yeah.
PC, so they're aware of it because there's a huge market there, and I mean everyone would play COD Mobile. if it was on console and PC. And
Yeah.
I don't. Okay, possibly if they ported a mobile version to PC to console, PC properly, then yeah, if it
Yeah,
still
more
felt like
people would
mobile,
play.
yeah, right. But if they made a version of COD Mobile where it was on, let's say, I don't know, for example, I think it would have to be on one of the older, more arcadey engines. Well, say like Modern Warfare Remastered, right? I think that's a pretty
Yeah.
good engine to build a game like this on. Um,
Mm.
if they made a game on that engine and had COD Mobile and had all the guns, maps, kill streaks like they have in COD Mobile, because COD Mobile is essentially just COD Online, but
Right.
for your iPhone or your
Yeah.
BlackBerry, whatever mobile
Basically.
hardware you have, right? So yeah, I think the thing is no matter what kind of platform you're on, I don't think there's any denying that playing on a console is always going to be better than mobile.
Of course.
Unless it's a game like Clash of Clans, for example. Then in that case, it's like mobile is better because it's a lot more convenient than having to boot up your
Right.
console to play it. But for a first-person shooter, it's just mobile games in general. They always feel really unsnappy.
The one
And
mobile game that I actually put a lot of time into was an old Star Wars game.
yeah,
What the hell was it called? I forgot what it was called, but it was a Clash of Clans type of thing for Star Wars where you build a base and
yeah,
if you're like the Empire, you can build like AT-ATs and, have stormtroopers and all your armies and all that stuff. And you have to get gold and make the gold factories to get your money. And then the
yeah.
game tells you every 2 minutes that you can pay $30 to get more gold. And it was like the one game that I put an all right amount of time into, a decent chunk of time into
The
back
thing
like so many years ago. But
the thing
um
is with that is that each like main like movie or TV show, whatever company had a game like that, had the Clash of Clans formula before that game. For example, Transformers did it.
did
Star Wars
they?
did it. Yes, Transformers did do it. And again, they're all built like Clash of Clans and the exact same formula where you make your base and all that,
Yeah,
whatever, right? And they have certain troops, and all that good stuff.
right.
And then I remember, I remember, and I don't know why, it's quite nostalgic actually, is my auntie Tracy, bless her soul, she let me use her iPhone to play Ice Age Clash of Clans.
Ice Age.
Yes, she let me use her iPhone to play the Ice Age Clash of Clans. And I'm not gonna lie, I spent a lot of her money.
Oh,
No.
uh-oh.
I spent my money on it, right? But I was
Okay.
young and I'd ask, can I spend £10? And I'd give her £10. She's like, okay. But I mean, back when I was a kid, I was heavily thingied into this game, and maybe that's where
Hmm.
most of the market comes from, like kids that just don't have consoles or PCs, and
Maybe.
let's say they have a nice iPhone, right? And the parents are like, I'm not buying you a console. I just got you an iPhone. Play on that. Then I mean, it's a good alternative for them, right?
Either that or like straight up, I would honestly assume that a good chunk of the player base for some of these bigger mobile games out there, and let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. I think I have a good point here. Are like kids that are under 9 years old,
Yeah,
because it's
you
like,
know,
here, kid, play with this phone, and then they just fuck around on Candy Crush or like Temple Run or something. They're just
the
like
thing is,
mindlessly doing random things, right?
the
It's
thing
just
is,
something to keep
right?
them distracted, right? Because people, for some reason,
Yeah.
do that. They just go, here, play with this phone, and
I'm not going to be your parent. This will be go play something. Go watch something. Go watch
yeah,
Markiplier.
yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, that
here's
is
the
the
thing,
case.
right? Here's the thing, right? I'm sorry, but it has to be said,
It
right?
is.
If you give a child, right, a mobile device or a tablet or whatever, right, just be aware they're going to return it in an hour or 2 hours, however long, right? And it is going to be covered in Cheez-Its. It's going to be covered in like marks all over your phone, like you like probably
Yeah.
like dirty marks and
And you're
stuff,
gonna be
right?
about $10,000 in debt if you don't teach them the importance of money.
Yes, you'll be in crippling debt,
Hmm.
and also as well. Um, I mean, what else can happen? Um, I
I mean,
more the story is don't give a 9-year-old a tablet. I mean, fair enough if you do, right? There's educational games, and I'm not gonna lie. I was playing GTA. I was playing GTA when I was like 4, right? So I'm not gonna
right.
like. But saying that, I didn't think of it like I'm gonna kill this random person in this game because I want to feel the need to kill someone. I just did it because I was going around my business. I run into someone. Oh well, who cares? As a
I
game,
mean,
right?
here's the thing about that with video games and developmental stages of youth, where it's one of those things where you could make the argument that, oh, it desensitizes you and it makes you not responsive to some of these other tragedies and to real world things, right? I think I think there is a huge factor that people need to keep in mind when it comes to this, and the parental aspect of it, because we as a society have been shifting more towards this, like, don't listen to your parents kind of a thing. Your parents don't know any better. You know better. And you're smarter than your parents, and you're smarter than the previous generation, because look at all this nice new things that we know that they didn't know so many years ago, right? And look at all this nice new technology that they just don't get. And so there's this kind of weird narcissism that gets promoted in the media, that gets people kind of this weird ego to make themselves feel a little bit better than their parents, even though they haven't been on the planet longer than their parents, and their parents have been through like real world experiences that they can teach their kids, and they don't teach them the importance of stepping outside and touching grass. A lot of you out there need to touch some fucking grass, I'm telling you right now. And separating the real world and the video game world. And you know
Yeah,
there are
I
things
mean,
that the parents need to do to be involved in children's lives that they just don't anymore, because technology's become too much of a convenience that they just go, here, little Timmy, play with this fucking phone for like an hour, and shut up at dinner, instead of like teaching the child manners and teaching the child like how to behave at a table. They're just sitting there all eating their fucking food, quiet, not even talking to each other, and like nobody wants to do anything about it, right? Oh, well,
yeah,
Jason, you're 22 years old, you don't have a kid, you're telling people how to parent, right? I'm telling you that this is my observation. Of course, I'm not a fucking parent and I don't have a kid yet, but this is an observation, and it's okay to call things out, even if you're not a fucking parent. Because you see it in the
yeah,
world. You see it in the world, and you see it
yeah,
everywhere. And people then fucking wonder why we have a completely antisocial society, and people can't seem to hold fucking conversation with people without it devolving into like name calling and finger pointing and all this just dumb shit that happens in society. Man, before I go off on a huge fucking tangent, I could go on about this forever.
yeah, yeah,
But the bottom line is, parents need to be parents. It's not the video game's fault. It's the parents' fault for not parenting their children if they turn out to be super
yeah.
antisocial, if they hate their parents or they hate the world or, whatever, right? And, kids do end up growing up with certain things, and the parents need to regulate that and control that, because they are the parents. And you know what? Sometimes
Yeah.
things happen, but at the same time, if parents can really nurture a child and nurture a kid to really get them more grounded in reality, to make them separate the online world from the real world, that's where it's at.
What a what a series of great points, Jason. That was. I agree with you completely. Um, Again, because like with video games and that, right? Parents love to blame the video games. They love to blame the video games. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, my son, he's being so rude because he's been playing GTA 5, right? And I think for most scenarios, I think how to put it, right? Like, because it's for each different situation, right? Because not each situation will be the same. There could be
Mm-hmm.
100 people that play GTA, and one of them gets a bit more like aggressive because of it, right? You know, just the way it is, because it's just
Yeah, that's the thing. People can be they can be impressionable, right?
Yeah, exactly,
Which is
right.
exactly where the parents have to step in and be like, "Hey, knock it off." You
Like
see
if
this
they
thing,
notice
you
something
see
up,
this thing on your game, or you see this thing on TV, and you want to emulate that disgusting behavior. Knock it off. The parent has to come
yeah,
in and like you know, make the disconnect yourself from the real world and the video game world. Are two separate things. You can enjoy GTA and be a completely sound person, but some people are super impressionable, and some
Yeah.
people, they don't have that kind of guidance sometimes, which is why it always comes down to the parents. And you try to help children along there. And also too, if for whatever reason the kid gets older and then that's all they do is they play video games or whatever, right? And then they let themselves, okay, that's the biggest distinction. They let themselves become super engrossed in the game that it corrupts them to the point of, I'm gonna go kill someone in real life. Like, that is literally their fault, and it's not the video game's fault at all.
Yeah. I mean, no, I agree, and I think it's about like, again, I coming from me, it's a bit rich, right? Because I'm one of the many people that I grew up on an Xbox 360, and I definitely played a lot more than I should have, right? I should have went out and did more things when I was younger, like more like in real life experiences that I never did, and I think it definitely made me a bit more antisocial, just because whilst people were out doing stuff, I was at home playing video games, you know, and I think it definitely like affected me like in some way, like actually going out and doing stuff. I definitely like even like little things, right? You didn't know how to do them, if you get what I mean, because
Right.
you never had the opportunity to actually go out and do it,
Right. I
whether that was
100% do.
shopping or like ordering food, like doing it for the like first time. You don't there's I don't know, there's a million things that go in your mind, right?
I get what you mean. I
Because
agree, dude. I think
you've grown up,
everyone's been in that boat.
yeah, where because you've grown up like not in fact I wouldn't say I was infatuated, but like I was addicted to video games, right? Now I'm at the point where I can like do whatever I kind of want. I mean, and I could drop video games if I really wanted to, right? Like if I wanted to, I could drop it, right? And I know this sounds like every addict. I just don't want to drop it right now. Okay, I don't want to drop it right now. But,
I mean, it's also different context too, because you're a content creator too. So
yeah,
it's one of those.
I mean, if it stops that, then it stops like me doing stuff. But like, let's say I had a gun to my head. It's like, you stop playing video games forever. Okay, fine. I will. I'll never play video games again. I'll go do other stuff. I'll go to the gym or whatever, right?
Right.
And do that. And yeah, and I am planning on doing that. Yeah, so I'll be ripped pretty soon. Yes, physical exercise, good for you. But it's about getting that balance of video games and then also going out and stuff, because like I found myself especially getting into video games because I was just playing them too much, and this is recent as well. I was playing the same thing too much, and it brought me to the reality that variety is the spice of life. Okay, you have to have your variety, not just in games, but in everything in life. So that's why I've been trying to do more. I've been trying to play more games, like in terms of like genre like games, right? Horror games, your indie games. I mean, I've been playing Valorant, first person shooter, right? I've been really, really enjoying it. Something different, something completely different pace than like COD, because that's what I mostly did play.
I've been enjoying Stray. I mean, Stray's been a really fun experience, and I love posting videos about it. It is fun.
I've heard it's a really, really good game. I heard somewhere that the ending might have been a bit quick. I won't say anything because obviously I don't think you finished it.
I will say it is quick. I did finish the game. It is a quick ending, I will say. But I think the story and the speculation that you kind of do during the gameplay and the world building of it is. Here's what's talking about Stray a little bit here.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's fascinating about this game is because you play as a cat, and there are no humans in the game at all. And you play as a cat, and it's robot people, right? And so cats are something obviously close to home for humans because they're domestic animals. Yeah. And so through the cat, we almost feel that sense of humanity through the cat, viewing everything through the eyes of this cat. Yeah. And because all the humans are gone, and I think the humans are actually their consciousness is in the robots, but it serves as very unique storytelling perspective too, and also for gameplay and exploration too. There's all these tiny little crevices and alleyways and these things you can jump on and to get up to the roof that you wouldn't be able to do that as a human, but you can do it as a cat. And it makes for some very unique gameplay, and certain things, not going to spoil it if you decide to play it, but there are certain things that, like, what would a cat do normally that also go into your gameplay, right? And so it's very unique. It's a very, very unique game, and the storyline is straightforward enough to where you can understand the baseline story and what you have to do. But then every
Yeah.
single plot point is shrouded in its own mystery, and every single plot point makes you think about what you're doing next, and makes you think about, how did this happen? Why are we here? How did everything happen? Who were these people? Where did all the humans go? And I think it's a very fascinating game. And it'll take you about 4.5 hours to complete total. It's a very short game. The ending is quick, though, I will say.
What was
And
it? What was it priced at?
I got it at $26. No, $26.99. But that was because it was on sale. Because I pre-ordered it, and they I think they marked it down like $5 for people who pre-ordered it. So I think it's about like $30 or so.
That's a fair price for it.
So yeah, it's definitely worth the money, and there are collectibles out there for those of you who love doing collectibles. And yeah, overall, those are my thoughts on Stray. I think it's a good game. It makes you think. There's light puzzle solving too, so it makes you think on how to solve some puzzles as well. And
Yeah.
a little bit of combat, nothing super crazy, but the combat is clever. And yeah, good game. I'd recommend it.
Good game. Well, I mean, there you go, man. Like that variety in gaming, like playing something different, it must have felt really nice. You
It
know,
did.
not getting stressed out about like Vanguard and the fact the game sucks,
Yep.
or like just this COD in
Or
general, Warzone.
Doverville.
Yeah, things like that, right? It's like just taking time to get away. Like I'm making
Yeah.
a list of games that I want to play through, right? And I mean, literally everything from like every COD campaign, and those aren't like prior on the list, but like all the Outlast games, and we're playing all the
Oh.
Battlefield campaigns, and we're playing. I just want to play like a variety of games, just so I can like kind of like open my like experiences for gaming.
Yeah.
Kind of like just because like yeah, I mean I grew up playing COD, like that was the game I mostly invested my time into, and I feel like I'm at a point now where like yeah, I want to play multiplayer for COD, like still like once every few days or so, but I want to start having new experiences because I can't remember the last time I really really enjoyed a game. Even zombies, for example, right? I always enjoy going on zombies, even if I get bored really quickly. I do enjoy. I do, and the baseline enjoy the experience though, right?
Right.
Because it's like my favorite game mode of all time.
Right.
But like, how do I put it? That joy I felt for zombies so long ago, it could be out there in another game for me again,
Yeah, I get
And
what you mean.
again, it's not that I don't enjoy zombies anymore. It's
Right.
just that at the time zombies was something new and refreshing and fun to me. And how many years have I played it? Like 10 years, right? Things can get stale, and finding a new game to play that will offer them not the same experiences, but the same feeling you had back then, where you're like engrossed and like you didn't know a lot about the game and you were learning, you're actively trying to find out about like what was going on in the
Mm-hmm.
story and gameplay, how to do certain things, tips, tricks, and all that.
Right.
It's it's a magical feeling, and that's why I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like it's important to get that variety in life, both for like actual doing stuff in real life, and
Mm-hmm.
then when you're at home gaming, as well as that as well.
Yeah, dude.
So yeah,
Hobbies in real life and doing different genres of gaming is really important, I think. And when it comes to playing different kind of genres of games and not sticking to the same thing, it's also a little bit more stimulating to you. You're constantly trying to figure things out more instead of like, oh, I know the Easter egg and now I don't have to think about anything forever, you know? And
and
then it's like you,
yeah,
you get stuck in the same routine, the same patterns, and you're not really like thinking about it as
yeah.
much as you would be
It's just
before.
you're
You're
just doing.
just you're just doing. Exactly.
You're like a
You're just doing
machine.
without
It's
thinking.
clockwork.
Exactly.
And
And so when you have a game, you have a different kind of game like Stray, like Valorant, like Minecraft, like whatever game you like to play, it's good to take a break from one to play the other one. Um, Also with hobbies too. I mean, real life hobbies are super underrated nowadays. And I hate it's kind of fucking crazy that I'm saying that because everything nowadays is so in the digital world and everything
yeah,
is just out there with like, I'm a digital this, I'm a digital that, I'm a content creator, I'm an online this, you know, everyone, everything is online. And, that's just, I guess that's just how it happened, right? But, you know,
I mean,
a lot of
it,
people I mean, don't I again, it saddens me to say this. A lot of people don't really take into consideration that doing more of the outside activities, going for hikes, exercising, lifting weights, having some sort of hands-on hobby, maybe some sort of tinkering or fishing or hunting or something like that, that also gets you out in the real world and gets you out and to do more experience. That's super good for your brain. That's super good for who you are too, because that also teaches you discipline. It also teaches you to respect the world. It also teaches you valuable life lessons. And like,
you know what it
it's
is
very fascinating.
in gaming terms. It's character development. Character
There you go.
development, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
You get your IQ stats all the way up. But
There you
I
go.
think as well, right? Once you do something else, for example, like fishing, hunting, you go out, mountain climbing, whatever you do, right?
Right.
It can also give you such clarity on something you had your mind was completely boggled with before.
Right.
Like, taking a break from something and leaving it for like a week or a few weeks, right?
Right.
I made a video on my second channel talking about gaming, how it's been boring, right? One of my biggest tips for gaming fatigue is just leave it and do other stuff. Like leave leave gaming in general, right? And try something different and go out and do actual real life stuff.
Reading.
Well, there you go. Reading. Yeah,
Bro.
Reading, man. Honestly, reading can be a life changer. I need to catch up on my reading.
Exactly. If I said that the other stuff was underrated, reading is the most underrated of them all. Okay.
And I don't even mean from like a screen, right? I think it needs to be from
physical
a
book. I agree, dude.
And
physical books are the shit. Okay.
Yeah, and the thing is, right? Again, right? Because I didn't really read too much growing up, and I'm dyslexic, or that can kind of get in the way sometimes, right? But you know what find a good book? Sometimes it's just hard to get out of it, because you're so invested, right. You want to find out what happens next. And I mean, books are such I know they're so old, right? They're like hundreds of thousands of years
it works.
Old. But the content format of it is incredible. The fact that you have all this story or all this information here for you to experience.
Yep.
And I think we're reading as well, whether I think it's more definitely when it's fiction, is when you read something compared to a movie, it lets your imagination go a bit more crazy, right? Because you get to experience it for what you want.
You're using your brain more, and that's what's so underrated nowadays. Again, that might sound harsh, right? Using your brain is underrated because, man, people just turn their brains off nowadays and just go, let me just watch every single movie in existence because it's something to do,
Yeah.
And it's really unfortunate. It's nobody wants to sit down and read a book because it takes too long, and then people also, no one's gonna want to hear this. Nobody's gonna want to hear this, but I'm saying it anyways. Nobody has an attention span anymore. They don't. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it in the comments. Nobody does.
That's down to the TikTok format, though, right? And other things, because we consume content so much, we just want it faster and faster and faster.
Right.
Because people just get greedy, and I don't mean that in a bad way, right? It's just the way that,
right.
In a way, the internet is kind of built us as consumers. We just want things instant. Amazon. You want a pair of shoes at your house tomorrow? It's 10 p.m. at night, and you want them there in 10 in the morning. You can get them there in 10 in the morning.
I don't even I've never even done overnight shipping, and I'm not even lying. I've never even done overnight shipping because it's why would I want to pay the extra money for me to just get it overnight when I could just be patient and wait,
The extra day, yeah.
It's just it's just such a simple thing to me that I don't know, man. Because the thing with books, man, books also teach you about the real world too. Yeah, you can watch a YouTube video, explaining history. You can watch a YouTube video explaining English or literature or, world events, social studies, things like that. You can watch YouTube videos about that, and they are very fascinating. And there are some really good channels out there for it, and people who do tackle, political issues if you're into that or whatever, right? But when you read it and you're reading a book and you're reading what the author has to say and you're reading what, ideas and what thoughts, and you are comprehending them by yourself and you form your opinion about it and you understand how it fits into your worldview and you understand or you have a better understanding of what you're talking about or what you're reading,
Mm-hmm.
it's so fascinating, and it's such a underrated process, I think,
Yeah.
because a lot of people, again, they don't read those books, and then people often question like, well, how come I can't do this? How come I don't know that? And you see in our generation, like nobody knows how to do shit anymore, like
Yeah.
practical, or when you think about things and people and their opinions and in their minds, they don't, sometimes people don't give a straight answer to things
No.
because they either don't remember anything that happened a year ago because it's just in one ear out the other, consumed quickly, or they just follow whatever is just in front of them and go, okay, that's just how it is. And then they won't realize a year ago that something was completely different. But then they'll think that the thing that they read, oh, that's always how it's been, right? And people don't remember anything either. Like
Yeah.
I may have
That
explained
that's
that I may have explained that really really poorly, but reading is just so underrated.
yeah.
It's
And
insane.
a little tip I have, because my memory isn't the best, right? Especially if you're trying to learn something, right? If
Right.
you're reading a book, like let's say like a YouTube guide or whatever, right? If you're reading like a book like that, you're not supposed to remember all of it. Grab a pen and paper.
Yeah.
Something important highlights to you, write it down, right?
Right.
Because you're still reading, but even though you might forget some things here and there, the information is written down because you found it out for yourself. You haven't gotten
Right.
it from some random list online.
Right.
You read information throughout the whole book, and you've taken down key points that you want to have with you.
Exactly.
And your knowledge and stuff will expand as well, just because again you're reading something that's dedicated to that like thing, and
Right.
not just like a quick like cheap guide on how to get YouTube famous or anything like that. It's taking that extra time just to like again, extra time to take a read. If
Yeah.
you bad memory, want to learn something, pen and paper, write down everything that you think is important. And I
Yeah.
can't stress that enough. That is a great tip, and I've used it ever since I've used it for the past few months, and
That's
for remembering
that's
things,
awesome.
it's great,
That's
honestly.
awesome. I
Um,
mean, the other thing is
but
too,
like,
dude, is people are like illiterate nowadays too. Like
oh
again,
yeah, I
that's
mean, what's
super fucking harsh. I get it. People are probably so fucking pissed at me after this podcast. I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. But like people do not care about spelling. People do
watch
not
it.
care about being
I
correct.
I have something to show you. Okay,
Yes. What is it?
how to install Black Ops 3 mods in the year 2022.
Right.
Right,
Vocal text. Right.
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 Not even that, Matt. Not even that.
Like here's the thing.
It's
I know
like
there are exceptions. Like I know you have dyslexia, right? So it's like I
right. So
know it can
sometimes
be
it's
difficult.
beneficial,
I know it can be difficult
but
sometimes.
but
But for
this
the
doesn't
people out
help.
there who aren't, like
But
I'm sorry, a lot of you sometimes it's frustrating to see. Like especially when you're writing a business email or you're like communicating with people, it's like you have to use the proper
no,
words and the proper terminology and proper grammar and things like that. And reading books helps you learn new words and helps you learn
that's
new
the
things
thing,
and how to
right?
communicate
Yeah,
with people. And it's
yeah.
great. And
I mean, yeah. It's yeah,
dude, I could talk fucking forever about this.
yeah.
I really could. But I think before I go off the rails even more so than I have today, let's talk about Rebirth of the Dead.
I think so.
Let's talk
Honestly,
about Rebirth of the Dead here. New
I haven't
zombies
played it.
event happening to Warzone next week, happening in Warzone rather. Um, yeah, so basically what's going to be happening is it's a new game mode on Rebirth
Yeah.
Island, and basically when you die, you come back as a zombie. And in order to come back to
Mhm.
life, you have to collect antivirals. And I forgot how many you need to come back as a human, but you can loot them from chests, find them just randomly, or when you kill somebody, you get 2 of them. But if you do a finishing move, like an assassination on somebody, you get all the vials necessary for you to come back to a human or come back to being a human. So come back to life, I guess you could say. So it's one of those things
Yeah.
where it's very interesting game mode. It's happening on Rebirth. I think there's only like 10 squads on this particular game mode. And
Yeah.
yeah, should be pretty interesting thing to play. I'm really looking forward to the storyline implications of it. And I'm really hoping that this brings us some sort of new storyline details about maybe Perseus or maybe something happening in Modern Warfare 2, so we can be clued in on that.
Man,
overall, it sounds pretty fun. What do you think about it?
I mean, I always want to learn new information, especially regarding like Modern Warfare 2. So I hope this kind of paves the way maybe to some info we'll get for it.
Yeah.
Again, I haven't seen too much about the event itself, but obviously, you die, turn into a zombie, vials, things like that. Gotta come back, all that stuff's great. I think the game mode itself will be fine. I think it'll be fun. Enjoyable little game mode that won't be here forever because they never are anymore. Obviously,
yeah.
That's why they're called up
LTMs.
LTM. That's why they're called LTMs, ladies and gentlemen. And I guess there's some logic behind that, right? Because how many old COD games do you go on and the only thing you can find is TDM? And in the nicest way, right? Like that most of the time, like let's say you launch Black Ops 3, might be the odd exception, but most of the time you launch a Black Ops 3 on console, you're only finding a TDM. Yeah, right?
TDM lobby, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. But just speaking of Modern Warfare, right? Like we're getting closer and closer, and we haven't gone
feels like
much,
nothing's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, and you'd think, and you'd think for this game, right? They would want to like hammer down on the marketing because potentially the Modern Warfare 2 name is such like a heavy thing. Like it's first of all the Modern Warfare, reboot, that was crazy, right? The fact that they reused the title and brought the story back, right? But Modern Warfare 2 encapsulates what the COD community used to be. Like the name, the presence of it, the mess that was Modern Warfare 2, right? And like the carnage that was Modern Warfare 2.
Yes.
That people absolutely loved it, and like nostalgia is heavy, man. Because again, Modern Warfare 2 released in the state it is today, right? If it was like another first person shooter and it released like
Twitter would have a field day.
Yeah, it'd be like the game wouldn't even have a player base, right? But I think I'm a bit concerned about the marketing because again, I would expect a bit more. Not a major concern, folks. I've seen gameplay and it looks like it's just going to be Modern. We've all seen gameplay from the campaign, right. And
it looks like just Modern Warfare 2019 2, which is exactly what it's supposed to be. But I think the thing that I'm worried about, and I think a lot of people are worried about, is that it's going to be just a carbon copy of the game, like straight up. I think a lot of people are worried about that because, Modern Warfare 2019 being as polarizing as it was, I feel like a lot of the people who are on the fence about Modern Warfare 2019 would probably not want to play this game if they find out that it's just the exact same thing.
I think what they'll do this time around is the game will pretty much be the exact same in terms of like guns and stuff, but the maps will be more free lane. And I think that is what they'll do. It'll be more Vanguard because as much as I don't like Vanguard, right? I kind of enjoyed the multiplayer for what it was. One thing I say is the Vanguard maps are better than the Modern Warfare maps. I can say that pretty confidently, I think. I think most of the maps in the game aren't complete awful. Don't get me wrong, spawns are awful, game is broken, bugs, all that stuff, right? But in terms of the actual map layouts, I don't think they're as bad as Modern Warfare. And if you combine the balance between Cold War and Vanguard, I think you have a pretty perfect formula. I don't think every map should be free laned necessarily, but I think they should have a flow to it. A Modern Warfare map should have a flow. But that's what they wanted to go for. They wanted to have that map design. They wanted Modern Warfare 2019 to feel like, and the easiest way I can think is like a more Battlefield game. I think like a real life like a war zone, a war zone, right? That's what they kind of wanted from it. But I think this time around they're really going to go for the more like, better map.
Try to meet in the middle.
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
Yeah, because like I don't think we've had truly great maps for ages for COD. And don't get me wrong, Black Ops Cold War had some good ones. I'm told the Modern Warfare and Vanguard, but like going back to the older games, a lot of the older maps had like actual thought put behind them and like layout and spots and things like that, and how you can use your brain. Like perfect example, Advanced Warfare, right? Even though the game had exosuits and stuff, a lot of the maps in the game were really, really well designed. You know, and I think if you were a enjoyer of Advanced Warfare, I think you would say that as one of the things that made the game like decent is the map design was pretty decent for the most part.
It was all right, from what I
And
remember. It's
I
been a
feel
long, long time since I played Advanced Warfare, but from what I remember, those maps weren't too bad.
I think they were pretty good.
I remember that one. What was it called? Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit. Banger.
That wasn't too bad. I enjoyed that map.
Detroit is a banger map. Okay, and it had so many other maps as well. Solar. Do you remember Solar?
Which one was that one?
I couldn't even describe. I mean, the map itself was pretty plain, but it was a great layout.
Okay.
In terms of like, yeah, I mean, good. It's just the maps had good layouts. It didn't feel like an annoying
these
current.
What was that one that was like in the
Snowy Mountains?
No, not the Snowy Mountains. No. Oh, Biohazard. Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah, that one was actually kind of good.
Yeah. And there are so many maps of in-game events
too, where it was like.
Go ahead.
What was? I'm trying to remember. It was like these like brown brick buildings, and it was like you could go down on the streets, or you could exo jump up to the rooftops.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of Favela a little bit.
Right.
It was like a bunch of brick buildings and like brown buildings. It was very like tannish, kind of that color palette. That one was okay if I remember. I don't know what it was called. I'm sure someone in the comments knows.
Well,
I don't remember.
I don't know if it was Riot.
No, but I just remembered that one. that was the prison one, right?
Yeah. That's where Exo Zombies.
Bad, actually.
That's where Exo Zombies originated from, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that actually wasn't too bad.
No, think about it. The game.
I forgot all about all these maps, to be honest with you.
I tell you the name and you remember them. That's what's important. I could tell you map names from Modern Warfare and like Vanguard. You wouldn't have a clue. You know what I mean?
I think I would because they're more recent, but I would be able to tell you like bad, yeah, or like good, okay, know.
Your memories of the older maps from like Advanced Warfare and stuff is that they weren't complete dog shit. Right? Damn. And that could be nostalgia, right? Or whatever have you. You can blame it on. But at the same time, I feel like that we all kind of believe that it was also because the map design back in the other games was better. Right?
For sure.
BO2, the maps are all right.
BO2 maps are cool.
I say they're all right. They were good. They were really good maps. And I think the peak for maps is Advanced Warfare for me personally. Only with the exosuits. Without exosuits, they aren't designed for that. I think the Black Ops 4 maps are pretty decent as well. I know there was a few that weren't like incredible, but I think they were pretty good. And then I mean, what else is there? Black Ops had some really good maps with exosuits. There's just, I don't know. The maps have come down a little, definitely in terms of like layout and atmosphere.
I get you.
I feel like, which is a shame.
The thing is with Call of Duty. Oh, bye, Cosmic.
My camera's dead.
Call of Duty. You gotta appreciate that they at least try something new with the maps, and they at least try to do something with it, even if it ends up being bad. Which also kind of segues into Fortune's Keep a little bit here, talking about Warzone maps and how Fortune's Keep is their 4th attempt at a Battle Royale map for Call of Duty. Well, 5th attempt if you count Blackout, but I'm talking about like under the Warzone title.
Yeah.
But with Fortune's Keep as well, they also put zombies on Fortune's Keep with the Cursed Chest event, where you go, you activate the chest, a bunch of zombies will spawn in, and if you survive, then you end up opening the chest and getting a bunch of loot and getting a bunch of cool stuff like cash, self-revive, score streaks. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I like that they're trying to do new things like that. And, say what you want about Fortune's Keep. I feel like a lot of people are pretty 50-50 about that map right now. You either love it or you hate it, really. And, I don't know. To me, I like the map for what it's worth. The one thing I don't like about it, that's very campy. And it's very, there's a lot of corners for rats. A lot of ratty corners there. So, I mean, other than that, I'm having a fun time with it still. And, I honestly think if they're going to do any kind of marketing for Modern Warfare 2, I think what they're going to do is try to have a Warzone event on Fortune's Keep. I don't know. I feel like with Caldera, I know Caldera is supposed to be like there. Oh, pay attention to Caldera. Like, whoa. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are very disgruntled with Caldera, and I think a lot more people are playing Fortune's Keep right now. So if I were Activision, I would want to do a Modern Warfare 2 in-game event on Fortune's Keep as opposed to Caldera, and then have Caldera just kind of be there in the background for the people who still want that core battle royale experience.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. That's my 2 cents on that. But again, with the Modern Warfare 2 marketing, it's like, what the fuck's happening, right? I mean,
Yeah.
maybe something in August, maybe, because we're at the end of July, so probably August is when all the stuff's gonna happen. Maybe an alpha will come out in August or something like that. I don't know, but for right now, it's been very, very quiet. They had this big bang in June, and then like July is just kind of like, well, okay, like what's going on here?
What's
Which
going on
I
here?
don't remember if they did that for Vanguard. I don't remember if they did that for Black Ops Cold War either. But it maybe they did, and I just maybe don't remember. But I do recall that there was a period of time during I believe it was Black Ops Cold War where it was like, oh hey guys, look at this stuff here, and then all of a sudden nothing would happen, and then Pawn Takes Pawn randomly showed up, right? So
Yeah.
there were some instances of that, I suppose, but who knows, man? Modern Warfare 2, let's see what you got. My expectations are kind of low because of what happened with Vanguard. I know they're two different studios, but I don't care at this point. Um, and then with Vanguard too, or not Vanguard, with Call of Duty and the developers too, Infinity Ward is of course not the only developer working on this. Did you hear about Sony? And Sony's game
I
studios are going to be
did.
working on Modern
Yes.
Warfare 2 as well. It's like, can any of these studios do a game by themselves anymore? Like, it's like a genuine question. I'm not even being facetious. It's literally, can they do a game by themselves anymore?
No.
And it seems like the only game studio that can do that is Treyarch. And so they call Treyarch to come help with theirs. And then now they're calling Sony to help with Modern Warfare 2. And then, like, what's going on here? Like, I don't really understand why, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe there's some closed door stuff that we'll never know about. But I don't know, man. It's kind of weird. It just feels weird to me.
It's an odd time for like game development for COD at least.
For sure.
Because not only that, because you had the Microsoft taking over type of thing as well with
Right.
Activision. I don't know. Maybe Sony are just trying to leave in good terms. I don't really know what to say about it. The only thing I could possibly see, and I think this came from a prestigious key, or this is where this quote is coming from, is that they're working on VR experience for Modern Warfare 2, which would kind of make sense, I guess, because the new VR is launching for the PS5 soon, and possibly they're working on something for it. I mean, that'd be pretty cool. Imagine. I mean, I think it'd be all right for a little bit, and people probably get bored and just go back to sweating out the game through mouse and keyboard or controller or whatever,
You're
right? But that's what I can see probably happening with that. But still, man, it's still crazy how many developers are working on this game, and the fact that here's the thing, right? It's kind of like a closing thought for like my part is when you have too many cooks in the kitchen, problems happen, right? Too many cooks in the kitchen, things start to go wrong because
there you go.
I think there should be one direction to go with something and they follow that. But when you start splitting it off in different teams and developers from their backgrounds, areas, things like that, new ideas and things like that,
right?
It can just get very like, I don't know, a bit clustered if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, you could use an argument with old COD games. Like, look at Black Ops 4, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like that game, they had so many ideas and there's so many people that kind of like development teams working on it. Or there's a few at least, right? It just, it became a bit messy, you know?
I get you.
Like, even if I think Black Ops 4 is a great COD game, problems definitely happened. Look at the Black Ops 3 campaign, right?
Train go boom.
Yeah, exactly, right? Too many ideas, too many cooks in the kitchen, too many ideas trying to fit into
too many cooks.
Too many cooks, man. That's all it comes down to. Too many cooks. This isn't Ratatouille, guys. This is Call of Duty, and we need to be serious about how many cooks we have in our kitchen.
Yeah, and I guess my closing thought then would be before we wrap things up here for this episode is, I understand people's calls for, the diverse backgrounds of game developers, right? Well, oh, you have this idea and you have this idea, and maybe we can find a middle ground, right? But when things are a little too diverse and everyone wants to have their way and everyone wants to have their direction, there's no focus. So it's a
Yeah.
good thing to have a diverse view of everything and to understand the world and to understand the gaming world and storytelling and to have a good understanding of everything. That's where your diversity comes in, that you have an understanding of everything,
Yeah.
rather than just, well, everybody's idea should be in the game and everyone should have a good say in it, right? Because then the focus isn't there, right? So if everybody has their way, how do I explain this? I have an image in my head of, like, you know, everyone trying to do everything at the same time, and it doesn't get to as high of a level. Whereas if everyone's working on one thing and everyone shares a core focus, everyone shares either like a core focus or a core gaming value that everyone can get behind as a team, it's more focused, it's more streamlined, it's more like straightforward.
There needs to be direction.
It needs to be direction, exactly. And so, yeah, bottom line is diversity in storytelling, diversity in game development when it comes to developing the game and it comes to, new outlooks on how to make things is great to have a good grasp of what you're doing and why you're doing the things you're doing. But once you bring it all in, you bundle that all in. And the same thing can be said for filmmaking, for movies, for anime, for TV shows, whatever. You have all these ideas, and once you bundle that all into a nice little bundle, a nice, neat little package, this is your focus now. This is your one focus for everybody to go and focus towards, instead of like, well, let's go over here because my idea. Let's go over here because my idea, right? Some things are going to get left behind, and some things, it's all up to the game developers to do. So, that's my 2 cents there for a closing thought. But everybody, thank you all so much for watching this episode of Division Z podcast. We talked about some very interesting stuff today. It felt very cathartic to talk about some of it today too.
Yeah.
To be honest.
No, definitely.
But I know you said you already had closing thoughts, but any other closing thoughts before we wrap it up?
Just that, like, yeah, gaming has maybe gotten a bit, I don't know,
strange.
Funny. We're in a strange place right now where some good games are coming out, but other games feel like they have no direction, too many cooks in the kitchen, and
which is why we said last time, Deviation Games has a really good chance to make a splash because everyone's waiting for that next thing, and everyone's waiting for the big thing, and Deviation Games already has a community behind them, and Jason Blundell, I think, is a good storyteller, so we might be potentially witnessing the rise of a new empire in the gaming world, and I genuinely believe with the team that they're building, I think there's a good chance that can happen. So
I would only love to hear more from them.
Exactly. It would be great to definitely find out more information. But everybody, thank you all so much for watching episode 97 of the Division Z podcast. What was your favorite part? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. And with that said, thank you again for watching. Everyone, check out the links down below in the description if you want to stay up to date with everything that we do. And have a fantastic rest of your day or night, depending on where you are in this crazy world. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
Bye, everyone.